Hey guys, Tomboy601, and Sony has filed a patent that could ruin single player games. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. It really could do that. A little bit late on the reporting on this. I apologize. It's been the holidays. But this article started circulating around, and specifically the patent is number W02023235090 on adaptive difficulty calibration for skill-based activities in virtual environments. If this gets granted and then applied, this could bring the worst parts of modern multiplayer into single player. And what I'm talking about is skill-based matchmaking or dynamic difficulty. Skill-based matchmaking kind of came to my attention and got on my radar during Modern Warfare 2019 when that released. I'm someone who will either play or not play Call of Duty, depending on how I like the multiplayer and just like the campaign or like the setting. So I didn't play the previous year, and I had played in World War II, but didn't really feel like skill-based matchmaking, and that was very heavy. But then you got to 2019, and basically it felt like the game's objective was to keep you at a even 1-0 kill death ratio. If you had a good game, you could kiss having fun the next couple of matches because you were about to get slapped around by other people until they took a mercy on you and let you have a single game. And this sort of management of player expectations and player experience isn't just exclusive to the Call of Duty franchise. I think Call of Duty is where it's become egregious, but we know it's in like Halo Infinite, we know it's in Apex Legends, and it's become such a feature that not having it is a feature, right? X-Defiant, Ubisoft's sort of Call of Duty competitor, one of its banner features is the fact that it won't be using skill-based matchmaking, which is just insane. Now, the reported reason for using skill-based matchmakers is to boost player retention and boost engagement time. If you're unaware, the idea of these metrics is that the devs believe, hey, if you play a longer amount of time with the game, you're going to get more invested in it. If you become more invested in it, you're going to be willing to spend more money on microtransactions for it, or at this case, macro transactions, because, you know, some of us play games where individual shooty boats are the cost of a full regular game. Anyways, the idea is that that in the games as a service model is that if you can boost player engagement, you will be able to boost profits. And it's funny that Sony is the one kind of pitching this as the idea, because if you're unaware, one of Sony's current big pushes right now is into games as a service. And spoiler alert, doesn't look like it's going too well for them. At least that's what PlayStation believes is one of its key areas of growth over the next couple of years. I wish them luck, but I kind of hope they stick to what they're good at, which is single player games. And I think this patent is very revealing in showing what they want out of the games as a service and how they can integrate that into what is already their strength, which is their single player games. And before we dive into this patent, just a couple of notes about patents. One, they take a very long time to go through. Like I said, this is an application. It hasn't been granted yet. Takes on average like 22 months in order to get a patent to go through the system correctly. And two, just because a company has a patent doesn't mean that they are going to use it or even apply it anywhere. A lot of times companies will get patents because, well, they've sunk all the research into it. They might as well get the idea patented. And then that way, if one of their competitors has the same idea, they can either block them from using it or license the patent to them and make a little extra money. So just because Sony's name is on this application doesn't mean this is the only place we are going to end up seeing this technology implemented. I went through and read the whole patent because I don't have a life and I find patents sometimes interesting. And I'll go ahead and read a couple of things. The first place we're going to go is the abstract, because this is where you can get a very good idea of the plan, the overall concept of this patent. So I'll go ahead and read that. Methods of the present disclosure may collect data when a user plays one or more different types of games when determinations are made as to whether the difficulty of a game should be changed. The collected data may be evaluated to identify whether a user gaming performance level corresponds an expected level of performance. When the user gaming performance level does not correspond to an expected level of performance, parameters that change the difficulty of the game may be changed automatically. Parameters that relate to the movement speed, delay, or hesitation, character strengths, number of competitors, or other metrics may be changed incrementally until a current user performance level corresponds to an expectation level of a particular user currently playing the game. At this time, the user expectation level may be changed and the process may be repeated as skills or the user develops over time. And that is the sort of pitch, the idea of it. But, let's just say that, dynamic difficulties have been around for a while. Like the first thing I thought of when this was going through was like, we've had dynamic difficulties. I remember COD 4, the tutorial mission. You kind of practice what ends up being the prologue mission. You practice the shoot house of going down and rappelling into a boat and shooting the targets in the Spec Ops course. And depending on your speed and accuracy within that, it determines what level it recommends the difficulty of the game for you. And that's one where, you have the user option once it's over to be like, oh no, I understand that you think I'm a hardened man, but we're going recruit, baby. You know what I mean? Like there's opportunities for you to deviate from the course. But there's other games where you actually don't really get a choice in this, where they do dynamically change the difficulty at this time. The other current game that sort of resonates with me with this idea right now is the Resident Evil series. If you're in Resident Evil 4, for example, and you fail a certain combat encounter multiple times, the game will change different variables so that you have a better chance to succeed. They may, if you entered the encounter with low health, they may, instead of having you restart that encounter with that low health, they may grant you a full health bar. Or they may reduce the number of enemies, or they may change the type of enemies that come. All those things happen in that game, and it allows for player progression to be eased. And that's what I'm hoping this patent ends up being used for. But some of the details later on have me a bit concerned. So let's go ahead and dive into those details. So in section 17, the patent goes, the user device may include a plurality of different types of computing devices. For example, the user device may include any number of different gaming consoles, mobile devices, laptops, and desktops, which is a bit terrifying because that means Sony could be trying to build a profile on you, not just on the PlayStation, but did you log into your Sony account on your computer? Are they going to track when you play their computer games? Are they going to track stuff on the website? Then in section 31, another interesting thing I saw is, for example, when the user playing a first-person shooter game has a good skill using a sniper rifle, has moderate skill using an automatic rifle, and has poor skills at hand-to-hand combat, performance metrics associated with competitors across in scenes of the game where an automatic rifle is used and where hand-to-hand combat is performed may be slowed down using speed, sensitivity, and or proficiency parameters. This may result in an adversary moving slowly, being less agile, or having a slower reaction time to stimuli. So they are talking about not just flipping it from easy, medium, hard, but measuring very specific variables and understanding within the game what traits you present and then what skills that you currently have, and not just shifting it from easy, medium, hard, but basically breaking that out into an infinitesimally number of difficulty sliders, which is interesting, but also slightly terrifying. And the last little bit I wanted to pull out is section 32, which is, in certain instances, a skill associated with one game may correspond to an aptitude of another game, which is wild. That tells me that also they are going, and it kind of shows it in the diagram, that you are going to end up building, at least if this patent is applied, Sony's building your own individual elo system for you and tracking all of these skills, and then trying to take a guess at what those skill sets are for when you start up a game and begin to play it, which is just wild. And my hope is that this doesn't come to pass, because right now skill-based matchmaking, at least in Call of Duty, has made a lot of the lobbies a sweat fest. And if you want to try to do good, you are going to be rewarded for one game and then infinitely punished for another. And for me personally, I enjoy my single player games. I love playing them, and I love being able to relax and being at a point where Sony may be like, oh, well, we definitely need the difficulty to be at this precise level, and sorry, you're either gonna die or you're going to enjoy this difficulty level, is a bit crazy. One of my favorite games from this year was Jedi Survivor, and one of the reasons I loved it was because I could play it at normal or hardened, and then during a boss fight, if it's been half an hour and I just feel like progressing the goddamn story, I can throw it down into story mode and still have a ton of fun with it because I'm swinging a lightsaber, and that's all I wanted out of that game. And the other thing I don't think that I didn't see in this patent is like environmental factors not really being taken in. For example, in my home, I have 2 Xboxes and a PlayStation, but I have 2 Xboxes. One here in my office for when I play video games and make content on it, but the other is out in the main room. But the main room we've set up as much more of a viewing experience, not as a playing experience. And as a result of that, we have a multiple breakout boxes between the console and the actual screen. So there is some pretty chunky latency between the image on the screen and what your inputs are, and you can absolutely feel it. Call of Duty is not playable out there, but you know what? That's okay. It's fine for single player games. It's fine for the cinematic experience. But if Sony is like, we can see he has 2 PlayStations. We're gonna take his same settings from in his office and apply it out there. Out there is going to be totally unplayable for any game if they're changing up latencies and stuff like that. So I think there is a world where this system could be good, right? But it definitely needs to be, one, opt-in. It can't be forced upon people. And 2, it needs to be very carefully done. And even then, I'm not sure I like just how much tracking is going into this. But we will see. Anyways, guys, that is the video. If you liked it, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.